Hello and welcome to Steam Pics. This is the first episode of Steam Pics where I go and have a look at a game that doesn't get much publicity that's available on Steam. And today, for number one, we're doing Democracy 2. As you can see, there's a little DRM symbol there, which is put in as a bit of humour. This is a political simulation game where you try and improve your country, and you see there's a list of countries here. And you play the role of the president or prime minister or premier or whatever. I found this funny how these are all some of these are references to actual states, but they're the opposite of what they really are. So you've got like Mexilando, which is obviously supposed to be Mexico, which isn't a constitutional monarchy, but it puts it there as being really militaristic. And like Koana, capitalist heaven, which obviously Korea isn't, and then the US is in there for some reason. So just randomly going into the game, let's see who plays Fredonia. You can select your party and the party that wins against you. There is only a two-party sort of system here. The currency that will be used in the game, the length of terms, and you want to put this to the top because that means you can play for longer, because it will end after you've turned your maximum turns and your maximum length of terms. So after you serve your 10 terms or your 6 terms or whatever, that's it, the game has to be over, unless you lose an election before then, whereas you'll definitely lose. You can also name your country, so there, and there's a lot of choices for parties. Like I could go for, you can see this goes down, a lot of these are just real party names. I don't think all of them are necessarily real, so let's go for the secular party. You can also, these all have base stats depending on which country it is. So you can see we've got low religious because this is an atheist sort of country. So you can twiddle these about to try and make things interesting. So you got 100% unemployment, say. Then when you go into the actual game, I did say this is a political simulator. This is like a nation sim. You get this little thing come up there explaining things. And from this screen you manage your entire country. So each of these is a little section of society. At the top you can see your income, expenditure and debt, or reserves, so that will turn to reserves if you actually pay off your debt and then start making money. As you can see, we're doing really badly, probably because I put unemployment up to 100%. We've got some street gangs over here, and you have these in red are the problems, in blue are just statistics that you can see. So here you can see our energy efficiency, and these are a direct way to see how things affect. So for instance, we've got poor earnings here. Well, there might be riots or things that are affected by this. If poor earnings go up, poor people earn more, maybe there won't be as many riots, and these things affect. So like poverty affects homelessness. Homelessness is one of these problems. You can see the cause. Poverty, unemployment is affecting homelessness. So you want to get rid of these problems, and you also want to lower or increase these little statistics that will affect the problems. And to do that, you go onto these little black ones and you change your actual stance on things. So this is science funding, and here we can see the effects and the cost, and I can change it. Now here you see your political power and how much it costs to make differences to these. So on some, like bus subsidies here, it doesn't cost much power, but on something like let's see, prisons, okay, it doesn't cost as much. Yeah, raising taxes, that takes a lot. That comes back over time. Here you can see what general groups think of you. So parents don't like me at the moment because of hospital overcrowding and asthma epidemics. And apparently prostitution is legal, but you know, whatever. But that doesn't necessarily mean that all parents are going to vote against me. It could be that these parents are also parts of other groups that like me, and those will conflict. There's lots of other stuff though in the game. Here you can see terrorist groups. If these get too powerful, they can start causing trouble. Here you can see some reports. This is just statistics about how good things are going. Here you can get rid of ministers and things that have certain effects. Depending on their loyalty and experience, they can make certain people like you more or contribute to how much political power you get each turn. Here we see political achievements. They're just like any other type of achievement. Party membership, you will always start out losing party membership. In your first turn you have to push it up, but this is particularly extreme because I set things so bad at the start. That is a way to get back into that, apparently. Whatever. Let's just get back for a second. Yep. Oh, this is actually a different one. Oh god. Forget it. Anyway, where were we? We were on to that one. I can't believe I forgot the essential layout of these buttons now, which takes you back to the main screen apparently. Here you can see the financial setup. So I can see, for instance, that most of my money is being spent on military spending. I can cut that if I need to. Some polls, histories, and here you can see your manifesto progress. When each election starts, you have to make promises, and if you don't fulfill those promises, there's stuff like raise life expectancy or decrease income tax by this much, you know, things like that. So overall, the game works really well. Actually, getting into the review part of this, the game works really well, and you can see the effect. It doesn't always happen as extreme as you think. It's not always so simple. It's not always, you know, increased police will get rid of crime. There's always going to be a problem, and sometimes you have to work on the more societal issues. Just like in real life, you have to fix the societal problems. And a lot of your own political opinions will come into this. This isn't just a clear cut, this is the best way. And some people will argue for certain things, some people will argue for others. You've got stem cell research and things like that here, which obviously are quite personal and important matters to some people. And you've got capital punishment, so it goes much further than the basic things that you see. So you really can exercise, you know, your own ideas onto this, and of course you've got to look at the bottom lines as well. This game is essentially set up to make it pretty difficult to keep yourself in the black. It is in the black. It's very hard to actually build up many reserves, and at the same time there's just so many things conflicting for your attention. It is possible to fix everything and to get a utopia state, but you really feel good when you do that. Sometimes you do get a ridiculously successful nation where everything just works out because you make a few good decisions and it snowballs. But if you play long enough, there will be problems, and you can make things harder for yourself by giving yourself a much worse start position than I do, essentially. So this is turn-based, by the way, and at the end of every turn you get something random happen. So this is a middle corporation that gives stats, and sometimes you get a choice which will affect things. So we can safeguard oil, we can send in troops, or do not deploy troops, and there's much more details to there, and you get this nice little report that you can look at, and that's essentially just what happens throughout the entire game. It's pretty simple. At the end of each election, in fact, if I just skip some turns really quickly, we can we can see an election take place. At the top you can see where it shows you what point of the term you're on. Will just be there in a second. I'm not very organised, as you can tell. Oh yeah, we can pick our manifesto, so we can say abolish car tax and abolish inheritance tax, and then we can finally get to the actual election. So you see here, people come out to vote, and you see which party wins. So my party in this game, the Social Democrats, are winning, and they've passed a little line, and they've more or less won. And it's just a little election, but obviously this isn't very graphical. This is all there is, but it's a very deep and very smart game, and if you're a fan of complex strategy, you'll very much like it.